Is the new normal. It's when we look at how the pandemic is dramatically changing our everyday lives. Today, we are focusing on the airline industry's struggle to bounce back. So take a look at this. On July 13th last year, 2.6 million travelers went through TSA checkpoints. On the same day this year, that total had plunged to less than 700,000. The airlines, in short, are reeling. Delta suffered its worst losses in more than a decade, and its CEO does not expect business travel to return to 2019 levels. Southwest CEO says they will have to cut staff if the number of passengers does not triple, and that seems unlikely. CBS News senior travel advisor Peter Greenberg joins us. Peter, good morning. So the airlines, they've gotten billions of dollars in relief funding, but they are facing serious trouble. And I think it calls into question what air travel will look like and feel like even after we're back to something like a normal. What's the future hold for them?
Well, the numbers are not lying here. In fact, they're pretty bad. Delta's loss in the last quarter was $5.7 billion. Let me break that out for you. That's losing $27 million a day. Now, that's better than their loss back in March, which was $100 million a day. And to break that out even further, $30 million of those dollars was just for refunds being issued to passengers for canceled flights. So you've got Delta basically trying to do voluntary furloughs to cut the number of their staff. 17,000 members of their organization have already signed up for it. You mentioned Southwest Airlines. Today is the deadline for their employees to opt in or out of a voluntary furlough period. And American Airlines has already said they think they have 8,000 flight attendants too many. The real key here, Tony, is looking at October 1st, because that's the day that the provisions of the federal bailout of the airlines, which really require them to fly all of their staff on payroll until that day, expire. And that's when you're going to see these airlines get very small.
Yeah, so part of the reason why there aren't a lot of passengers on airlines is because there's not a lot going on when you travel. You know, museums are closed, concerts are not happening. The other reason is even if you have somewhere to go, you may not feel comfortable in the cabin of an airplane. It feels, anyway, like a very tight space where the virus could spread easily. Is that true in reality?
Well, there's some studies that say that's true. However, the actual dimensions of an airline cabin and social distancing are sort of mutually exclusive. If you take a look at a window seat and an aisle seat separation with nobody in that middle seat, the separation is only 22 inches. That's not 6 feet. Yeah. Not to mention the guy behind you 14 inches away who basically just sneezed.
On the other hand, they do have hospital-grade filters in many, particularly of the newer models, which circulate the air very quickly. So that is one benefit we can point to. When could this return to some sort of normal? What is your projection for it? And as it returns, is there a silver lining for anybody, particularly people who have a mountain of miles or benefits or credit card kind of rewards that now they have no way to spend?
Well, business travel is basically flatlined and will stay in coma till March or April with the lack of a vaccine or therapeutics. But there is a silver lining here, and that is if you're sitting on a lot of frequent flyer miles, here's the irony of it. 6 months ago, the planes were full. The airlines were reluctant to give anybody a frequent flyer award because they didn't want to displace a revenue passenger. Now they've got nothing but seats. So if you're looking at November, December, January travel, usually very high seasonal travel time, you know what? Redeem those miles now. First of all, the redemption levels have been lowered in many cases, and the airlines are going to give you those seats.
That's good news there. You know, Peter, before we go, I do want to ask you, why are there so many different approaches here to how the airlines treat passengers? Some are selling the middle seat. Some are leaving it open to encourage distancing. It seems like just as we have many states with different policies, we have many airlines with different policies.
The reason for that is the federal government has not made it a mandate. There's no federal air regulation that's been put into place by the FAA. And last but not least, Delta Airlines is now reporting that the #1 reason why people are booking their airline is because they've agreed to block the middle seat through the end of September.
There you go. It all comes back to federal leadership. Peter Greenberg, thank you very much.